Who could have imagined that the excavation of an ancient ruin would awaken a seal buried for ages? That single act unleashed a catastrophe upon all of humanity. A blood-red, eerie mist spread like wildfire across every city. Humans trapped within it could not withstand its corruption. Some lost their minds and went mad. Others collapsed dead on the spot. Animals and other living creatures fared no better. Most were twisted into grotesque abominations, monstrous beasts with terrifying forms and uncanny powers. Wherever these abominations roamed, cities crumbled to rubble. Fear itself spread like a plague. People ran in panic, desperately trying to survive. Suddenly, fighter planes appeared in the sky, launching missiles. Explosions thundered across the ground, filling the streets with smoke and fire. Yet, even amidst that chaos, our hero found himself surrounded by monsters on all sides. Strangely, something was happening within him too. His body stirred with a power he never knew he possessed. His hand began to shift, faintly resembling that of a monster. The creatures tightened their circle, preparing to strike. Standing tall in the middle, our hero's own eyes glowed a furious red. For a moment, it looked as though he himself would transform into a beast. Gritting his teeth, he let out a roar, shouting his sister's name, "Zu, where are you?" That desperate cry ignited the fury within him. His anger surged, and he charged at the monsters, striking them down one after another with savage force. Each fell in turn until the street grew silent. Panting, he stood still, his monstrous features fading. He turned toward a nearby building, a flicker of hope in his heart. Maybe his sister was inside. He stepped through the ruins and found her doll, lying abandoned. Kneeling down, he reached to touch it. The moment his hand brushed against it, his form returned to normal. His strength gave way, and tears poured down his face. Crying, he shouted into the emptiness, "Zu, where are you?" The scene shifted. His mind was dragged back 3 days earlier. He and his family had been driving together. The roads were jammed with cars. Inside the vehicle, his parents sat in the front while he and Zu sat in the back. Suddenly, soldiers came knocking on their car window, shouting, "Move this vehicle at once." Startled by the commotion, his father grew angry. "What's going on out there? If even the army is in such chaos, how are ordinary people supposed to survive?" Hearing his words, Zu clutched her brother's hand tightly. Trembling, she whispered, "I'm scared, so scared." He squeezed her hand gently, trying to comfort her. "Don't be afraid. I'm right here with you." Just then, he noticed something strange outside. The crimson mist was spreading everywhere. Before he could react, a car nearby suddenly exploded and crashed down on top of theirs. The vehicle crumpled under the impact, trapping his parents inside. "Are you okay?" he shouted frantically. His father groaned in pain, face contorted. "My leg, it's stuck. What's happening out there?" And then they saw it. Emerging from the smoke and fire was a towering monster, its roar shaking the ground. Everyone nearby screamed and ran for their lives. His father turned to him with urgency. "Take your sister and get out. Run as far as you can." Heart pounding, he kicked open the car door with all his strength and pulled Zu out. He rushed to the gate ahead, but his mother grabbed his hand. "Go, take your sister and escape. Don't worry about us." "No," he cried, shaking his head. "I won't leave without you." But before he could argue further, a chilling scream echoed behind them. "Help me." The voice made Zu freeze in terror. Seeing her pale face, confusion clouded his heart. What was the right choice? His mother pressed his hand, her voice breaking. "Please, go now." Reluctantly, he started to move, dragging his sister with him. Behind them, his father shouted his final words, "Be a good man, and take care of your sister." The next moment, the car exploded. The blast consumed his parents instantly. The shockwave hurled him and Zu to the ground. Staggering to his feet, he looked up and saw a massive monster standing atop the wreckage of the car. Its eyes locked onto him. Clutching his sister's hand, he ran, heart pounding, while behind him, the beast gave chase. All around, other monsters were wreaking havoc, slaughtering people without mercy. The crimson mist infected countless more, turning survivors into horrors. As he fled, terror clawed at his mind. What is happening to this world? He ducked behind a wall, gasping for breath. But the monster hadn't lost him. It followed, its shadow looming closer and closer. At that moment, our hero held his sister's mouth shut, keeping her silent as they sat quietly, waiting. He kept glancing back to see if the monster had finally left. Only after a while did he relax, leaning against the wall with a heavy breath, whispering, "All the monsters are gone." But suddenly, the same red mist drifted into the very area where our hero was hiding. The moment he inhaled, the mist began seeping inside his body. Red lines started appearing across both his and his sister's skin. His sister clutched her head in pain, and seeing this, our hero anxiously asked, "What's wrong? Are you feeling unwell?" Then, as he glanced into a nearby mirror, he saw his own reflection. Red lines were spreading across his face too. Shocked, he thought, "What is happening here?" In that instant, he realized this was happening because they had inhaled the red mist. Without hesitation, he soaked a piece of cloth with water and pressed it against his sister's nose, saying firmly, "Keep your mouth and nose covered." Yet the next moment, he himself began to lose control. A red aura flared wildly around his body, his eyes burning crimson. He thought, "It feels like something is flowing out of me. It's so hot." Seeing her brother like this, his sister grew frantic, shouting, "Brother, what's happening to you?" But he forced a shaky smile, his hand trembling uncontrollably, and said, "No, nothing's wrong. I'm perfectly fine." Before they could say more, a monster suddenly appeared from behind. Both of them froze in terror and bolted, running out of the supermarket. But as they escaped, another monster swooped down in front of them, while yet another closed in from behind. Surrounded on all sides, fear consumed them. At once, our hero shielded his sister with his own body and declared, "Don't be afraid. I'm right here." But one by one, more monsters appeared, until countless eyes were staring them down. Looking at the overwhelming horde, he thought grimly, "Today is the day I truly die." Even so, he rushed back inside the market, snatching up a stick and charging at the nearest monster. Swinging with all his strength, he struck, but the stick shattered in half upon impact. The monster roared in rage and counterattacked, knocking our hero to the ground. Then suddenly, a strike hit the monster's eyes. It was his sister who had attacked. She hurried to his side, crying, "Are you okay?" But the monster, enraged, turned its fury on her. Seeing this, our hero screamed desperately, "Zu, run!" Hearing him, she immediately fled, but he shouted again, "Keep running, don't look back." Blood trickled from his mouth as his body trembled. Barely able to stand, he leaned against a wall, that same crimson aura blazing around him once more. Meanwhile, halfway down the road, Zu tripped and fell. A monster loomed right over her, ready to strike. The instant our hero saw this, the wall beneath his hand began to crack under the pressure of his energy. Then, with a thunderous force, he unleashed a devastating attack, striking the monster down. But he was no longer himself. The fury had consumed him. Seizing a massive weapon, he slammed it down on the monster's skull, ending its life in one brutal blow. He kept striking again and again, his rage unstoppable. Zu rushed to him, clutching his arm, crying out, "What's happening to you? Stop, please, I'm begging you, stop, I'm fine." But he was beyond reason, continuing his savage assault. Only then did fragments of his parents' voices echo in his mind, "Take care of your sister." The words pierced through the madness. Slowly, he regained control, dropping the weapon. Trembling, he pulled his sister into an embrace and whispered, "Forgive me, I scared you." Seeing him return to himself, Zu asked tearfully, "Are you okay?" But before she could finish, another monster crept up behind them, ready to strike once more. At that moment, our hero grabbed Zu and leapt high into the air, dodging the monster's strike. The beast lunged forward again, preparing another attack, but before it could reach, our hero raised the weapon in his hand and unleashed a powerful blow. The monster was sent flying like a ball, crashing violently into the wall. Turning quickly to Zhu, our hero said firmly, "Hide here. I'll deal with that monster." Hearing his words, Zhu grew anxious. "Don't go alone. It could cost you your life," she cried. But our hero shook his head. "That giant monster has its eyes locked on us. I'll draw it away." Her worry deepened. She grabbed onto him, pleading, "Don't go. You'll lose control again just like before." Seeing her so tense, our hero smiled softly, placed his hand on her head, and reassured her, "Don't worry. This time I won't lose control. I'll be back soon." With that promise, he turned and left. As he stepped outside, he muttered under his breath, "If I hunt these monsters, the red energy will make me even stronger." And then, standing before him, was a massive monster. Our hero narrowed his eyes, whispering, "If I can kill this one, I'll gain enough power to protect my family." But before he could act, even more monsters appeared around him. With no hesitation, he charged into battle, striking down one monster after another. His fury drove him forward, and he cut them down one by one. But suddenly, from behind, one of them sank its teeth deep into his arm. Enraged beyond measure, our hero roared and ripped the creature apart, tearing its body in two. His aura flared violently, and once again, he began to lose control. But this time, it seemed as if he held on to a sliver of himself. He grinned wickedly and declared, This is true power." The moment those words left his mouth, military airships appeared in the skies above. Seeing them, our hero slowly began to calm down, his form returning to normal. He looked at his trembling hands in confusion. "What's happening to my hands?" Suddenly, missiles launched from the aircraft, streaking toward the ground. His eyes widened as he turned and screamed, "Stay inside, don't come out." An enormous explosion followed, shaking the entire area. From the airships, military soldiers descended. They spotted his sister and immediately began leading her away. When it came to our hero, they spoke coldly, "He's infected. Leave him here." Barely conscious, our hero forced his eyes open. Through blurred vision, he saw his sister being taken away. Summoning the last of his strength, he lifted his hand, desperately reaching out to stop them. But by then, the soldiers had already taken her, leaving him behind,